Hello, I'm Mistress Ealasaid, and I've been playing in the SCA for, I believe, 25 years now. Estrella 10 was my first Estrella that I attended, so however long ago that was. What was
What was the first event that you attended?
I'm not sure if it was a Barony of Adenveld event or a Principality of the Sun event. I know the Prince was there because I was introduced to him later in the event. But when I first arrived, the friends who had brought me into the SCA weren't there yet, and I was afraid to go in to the event where all the strangers were. So I stood at the edge of the parking lot, and I took my drop spindle out of my basket, and I was just standing there spinning my thread, waiting for, I don't even remember their names anymore, to show up. And this lady came over to me and said, "Why are you standing in the sun? Come sit under my sunshade, and please show me how you get your thread so thin." And I was hooked because she wanted me to teach her how to do something instead of going, "Why didn't you just buy your yarn like everybody else does?" Which was anything that had ever been said to me by anyone who had caught me spinning before.
Nice. And when did you get your AOA?
6 or 7 years into playing, I think. Ivan Hightower was Prince of the Sun, and Kate was Princess. And if Gerald the Inverter had ever been king, that was when he was king. I know he stepped down from being Baron at one point, and I don't remember why. But that was where I got my AOA, because I got it from the Prince and Princess of the Sun.
And you attended a crown tourney first time?
I'm not really sure I remember. The first one, the one that comes to mind when you ask that question, either Alan was king and Trelawne won that day, or Trelawne was king and Alan won that day. But I know it's when the favor of love was invented, because I remember them coming around with a piece of fabric, asking all the ladies to give something to be attached. And when they saw me sitting there embroidering, I got gang high into being part of the people sewing everything on, and all I had was a button. So there's a button on there that belonged to me, and that was the first time that it was given to the king.
Nice. An event that you autocrated or steward?
The very first thing I autocrated was a newcomers collegium for the Barony of Adenveld. All of the classes were geared toward newcomers, what you needed to know to get started in the SCA, and it was held in the clubhouse at Encanto Park.
Is that where SCA 101 comes from?
No, I don't think I think that existed before that.
Oh.
I just, the Barony asked me to do the collegium, and I went, yeah, but only if it's for newcomers. Yeah, and then I also did one of the Southwind tournaments, and for a while I was the autocrat for Estrella War, but then I had to step down.
What was your first officer position?
That must have been Chatelaine for Barony of Adenveld. I think that was first, and then
a baronial investiture that was very special to you.
Well, they all are. I guess probably it would be Autumn Elisabetta, because that was the first time that I was friends with somebody who was being invested.
Yeah. And that's when I was apprenticed to Catherine.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's special for me too.
Yeah.
The first coronation you attended?
Oh, that must have been Trelawne and Varia. And I was introduced to a very tall, elegant gentleman who was a Laurel. And when I gave him my hand to kiss, he pulled my sleeve back and went, "Oh, good girl," because it had been hand-stitched. And I discovered later that was called the Laurel's handshake.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so somebody really did it once.
I haven't heard of that.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
How did you choose your heraldry?
I'm the cat lady, and I've always had cats. And my very first heraldry was a cat, seated, Seiji. And I had a camel saddle that my father had brought from the Middle East. He was in the Navy, and he had toured the Mediterranean on an aircraft carrier. And he brought back a camel saddle, and that was my chair. So for the first couple of years that I played in the SCA, nobody knew my name. I was just the lady who spins with the camel saddle. So I had the cat sitting on a camel saddle was my first heraldry. And then after a while I wanted something more, medieval looking. So now I've got the sea lion.
A demo that you attended?
Oh, the Devonshire Wind Fair
Oh,
And,
yes.
Yeah, I did all of those. And we used to do demos for the St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Oh,
So yeah, we did those all the time.
didn't know that. What is your favorite memory of Australia War?
That has to be the year that I camped in the Enchanted Ground. Helen Jeanette was running it, and I awakened at, must have been like 4 o'clock in the morning. It was right before dawn. It was just beginning to be kind of gray misty, and I had to call a nature. So I stepped out of my tent into the Enchanted Ground, and there was fog everywhere.
I
like
remember
waist
that.
high.
Yes.
And all I could see was the period encampment tents, and off kind of in the distance was a tall lady in the Irish Kendale cloak, with the big hood, walking an Irish setter. And, I'm not an Irish setter, an Irish wolfhound. And it's like, I'm really in the 12th century. Yeah. I've stepped back in time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Except when I got out, it wasn't waist high. It was maybe a foot off the ground.
Yeah. And this was, because the fog was swirling around the lady as she walked in her cloak.
Was there a feast that you enjoyed? The food, the ambiance, the people?
Probably the feast that I enjoyed the most, because I am the feast killer. If I buy feast and sit down to eat it, something horrible will go wrong. Once the ovens didn't work, once the feast was burned, once the servers just never got to our end of the table. But I had gone up to Wendell for an event, and I ended up having to stay longer than I had intended to, so I hadn't bought feast. So I just went in and said, well, can I help you serve? And I served the feast for that, and I had the best time. So now if I'm going to go to a feast, I serve. And then everything works beautifully. If I sit down to eat, it's different.
It doesn't work for you. It doesn't create havoc with the cooks.
From when I serve?
No, when you don't serve.
Yes, it does create havoc.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, the ovens broke down on one feast.
Oh, no.
Yes. For something happened and the main course was completely burned. No fault for the cook, but I'm not, it's
okay,
the
gotcha.
ovens went wild or something. But yeah, no, it's my first 3 or 4 feasts were a total fiasco for everyone. And then I stopped going to feasts and they were all just fine after that, so I served.
When you met someone in the SCA that is now very special to you, who is that?
Oh, every friend I've got. Katerina, she was the most fun. She was at fighter practice, and she had her dog Petunia, great big black Great Dane. And we stopped, and I don't even remember now why we stopped to talk to her, but of course, if I see a dog, I have to pet it. So I leaned forward to pet Petunia, and of course, when you lean forward, your skirts kind of puddle out on the floor, and Petunia laid over on my skirt, so now I'm stuck, bent over, unable to stand up. And Katrina was so embarrassed because this dog had trapped this person. But then we became friends.
Tell me about an award that you received that is very special to you.
Oh, well, they're all special because they're all recognitions, and they're all, hey, we noticed you're there and we thank you. Probably the one that means the most right now is the Golden Needle, because I had been working so long, and that was one I thought I was never going to get, and that I hadn't done enough. All my embroidery was given to people, but I hadn't really done a whole lot. Well, I did the banners and the cushions, so I guess it counts. But that was just after years and years and years of I've gotten every award there ever is to get in the society. There's never any more.
Did you do these 2
Yes.
cushions?
Now, lots of people did a lot of the embroidery. I did the suns and the crowns and a couple of the roses. But, and Lady Bladenhawk actually did the construction on the pillows. But I led the team that
Nice.
did those. And, the banners aren't up there.
Yeah.
The big golden metallic embroidery, Dame Alienor and I did those.
Ooh, okay.
And Dame Catherine helped. She sat on the floor under the frame, and we would shove the needle down, and she would pull it through, and then we'd put a straight pin to show where it needed to come up, and she'd shove the needle up, and we'd grab it and pull it up.
Oh.
Because, it's a 4 foot by 5 foot banner.
Yeah.
There's no way to
Yeah.
just reach around.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you.
Thank
This has
you.
been very enjoyable.
Thank you. This was fun.
Good.